27th of December, 2025. And you know what that means? That's right. It's time for me to tell you something amazing. In case you haven't noticed, the Hamas has been busted in Italy for a terror funding scam. What does that mean exactly? Well, authorities in Italy have arrested a bunch of people for fraudulently funding terrorism to the Hamas, collecting money supposedly for charity and humanitarian aid, which was funneled directly to Hamas for uses for terrorism. This is an operation that took a long time for the authorities to gather the necessary intel and evidence, and they discovered millions of dollars that had been funneled over the past couple of years to Hamas for terrorist purposes rather than for the supposed humanitarian aims which they were claiming the money was being collected for. Now, for anybody who knows any of my work over the past, I don't know, 30 plus years about this particular topic with groups like Hamas and Palestinian Islamic Jihad using mosques and other facilities to raise funds in places like Dearborn, Michigan, and elsewhere. You know, I've been telling you for decades, literally, that they've been collecting money this way since a very long time, literally since pretty much right after they started as an organization, going back to the late 80s. Right, Hamas was really created in 1987 and set up its founding charter in 1988. And very initially, Hamas was created by the Muslim Brotherhood of Egypt. And for the first 6 months or so, it operated purely as a charity. And that is why Israel at first said, oh, this is a group that maybe we can work with. But then, of course, they saw that they could be turned to violence. And so since then, Israel, of course, has been, having to deal with the terroristic ways of Hamas. So this particular form of gathering funding by claiming it's for humanitarian purposes, charity work, etc., and then, of course, actually ending up in the hands of actual terrorists is really not news at all. It may, in fact, be the least newsworthy news article that I've seen published today. It was originally published in the Italian news, and it also was published across Times of Israel and other news outlets. And this really, frankly, should surprise none of you if you've been following my videos over the years, where I've been telling you that this kind of stuff is happening. And by the way, if you're new to my channel, please like and subscribe so that we can help this channel reach more people. I'd appreciate it. Thank you very much. So Hamas basically constantly exploits this kind of method for raising funds. Hello there. I see you in the chat. Hi. I see you. Hi. It's really not a shock to me that they are doing this, and I hope it's not a shock to you if you've been paying attention to what I've been saying about Hamas for decades, and certainly here on my YouTube channel for the past years, and certainly since October 7th, when I've been specifically calling out Hamas and the terrorist ways that they employ, including raising funds from overseas, from donors, etc. What does it say? What's up? How is your night going so far, buddy? I am good. I'm walking here in northern Israel, doing some things, and just out and about, doing some stuff, and doing my usual walk and talk here with you, and letting you know what's up with the situation here that we have to deal with in Israel against this foe known as Hamas, and the evils to which they stoop to raise money to continue terrorist operations. So they will go to any lengths whatsoever, obviously, to continue being a group that has as much power as they possibly can acquire. And that, of course, means they need to acquire funding on a regular basis to pay for their operations. And obviously that means, since they are a criminal organization, that they employ criminal tactics, criminal means to do that, to achieve their aims. And yes, that of course means they will gather money illegally, fraudulently, under the pretense of being charitable work, when in fact it is nothing more than fundraising for terrorist operations. Right? This is not a surprise to anyone that knows this stuff. But of course, to the average person who doesn't know this stuff, it may seem shocking that a group of Muslim jihadis is raising money for charity work that actually ends up going into the hands of terrorists. Well, if you're one of those people, you better get your head checked and understand a little bit about this conflict, learn a little bit about it. One of the simplest ways you can do that, of course, as I mentioned, oh, what a cute dog, is to like and sub. That way you can stay informed. Because if there's something I will bring you, it's the facts, right? Yeah, I might bloviate sometimes and give you my opinions, but when I do that, I tell you up front. When it comes to the facts, I am as straightforward as they come. I've been in this field for a very, very, very long time. Longer than most people who are in this field have even been alive, frankly. Sure, there's been people in this field even longer than I have, of course, but I am up there, in the range of having done this for more than 40 years since I was a little kid, and always found politics and the Middle East conflict to be very interesting to me, because I've always seen it as something that is an unconscionably stupid conflict that could end and should end. And there is fault to some degree on the Israeli side in that sense, in the sense of there have been opportunities missed by Israel. However, the general fault, absolutely, overall, falls on the side of those who fight against Israel, because they are the side that simply refuse to have peace. Israel is the side that wants to make peace, yet continually fails to achieve it with its neighbors, or with, the worst of its neighbors. But slowly but surely, we are achieving more and more peace, diplomatic relations with countries that were once thought to be practically impossible to achieve peace or diplomatic relations with. For example, just yesterday, in fact, the area known as Somaliland in northeastern Somalia has been declared an independent state by the people that live there and the group that runs essentially a government there. And there's only one country on earth right now that recognizes Somaliland as an independent sovereign country, apart from Somaliland itself. And that country is Israel, in case you did not know that. So yesterday in Somaliland, the flag of Israel was emblazoned on government buildings, and people were walking around the street and celebrating and driving around the streets with Israeli and Somaliland flags on their cars, on their shirts, etc. And it is obviously a very nice diplomatic victory for Israel, because, of course, Somaliland is a majority Muslim country, which means it is a kind of a diplomatic victory for Israel. And of course, the news has come out that Somaliland has been working in collaboration with the Mossad to achieve these things, and for Israel to be helping Somaliland basically firm up its existence as a country. Well, whether those rumors are true or not is moot, in the sense that Somaliland is recognized by Israel, and it doesn't really matter how we've done it. It matters that we've done it. Will there be other countries that will follow Israel's lead and recognize Somaliland as an independent country? Who knows? Only time will tell. Of course, given the amount of blatant anti-Semitism in the world, even amongst our so-called allies, like Australia and the UK, and France, and other countries, Portugal, and Norway, and etc., where they supposedly are the allies of Israel, they've also recognized this so-called state of Palestine, which has no legal basis for declaring itself a nation, since it has no recognized borders, it has no unified government, it has no currency of its own, it has no single leader, right? It is, in all intents and purposes, not a state. However, if they want to pretend that they are, well, that's up to them and up to the majority of countries around the world who pretend that it's a real state, even though, again, all those character traits that I just mentioned do not exist, which means that effectively they are recognizing nothing. Since, for example, where does an ambassador to Palestine go to present his credentials? Does he go to Ramallah? Does he go to Gaza City? The answer is there's no answer to that, because their land is divided and their people are divided, and they do not have a single unified leadership. So yeah, it's a joke. Meanwhile, in Somaliland, you do have a unified government. You do have recognized borders, at least by Israel. You do have recognizable borders. It's not a land split into two pieces, right? They have their own currency. They have their own armed force. They have their own unified leader. So it's a country, right? They've declared sovereignty over their land, and they are in control of their land, right? Somalia is not in control of Somaliland. Therefore, Israel recognizes it as a state. Moreover, Israel recognizes it as a state because Somaliland recognizes Israel, right? And that is good for the diplomatic relations of both nations. Oh, what a cute doggy. Hello. Hi, doggy. A very cute Doberman. Very large, cute Doberman. Yeah, so that's the what's what. And that's the lowdown on Israel's recognition of Somaliland. Hope you found this informative and useful, educational. If you did not know about it before, about what happened between the Italian busting of the fraudulent Hamas fundraising scheme and the news about Israel and Somaliland, well, now you know. And again, thanks for watching this video and liking and subscribing and commenting and sharing all those wonderful things that the algo gods look to in order to share my videos to more people. Appreciate it very much. And hopefully I'll see you again in the next one. Until then, I wish you all a Shavua Tov, a good week. As we say in Hebrew, Shavua Tov. And yeah, Shalom for now. Peace.